Welcome everybody to Extreme Power No Handling Autocross, and yeah, today we're dealing with a 1966 Hillman Imp. So yeah, I'm going to be honest, I'm not expecting this to be all that fast. Quite frankly, I'll be surprised if it even manages to beat the current last place holder, the Austin-Healey Sprite Mk1, because in terms of stock form they have both the same kind of power and torque. They both weigh very little, but this is less conventional in the fact that the engine is in the rear, and that's going to be the case when we upgrade it. So yeah, not really expecting it to going to be do all that well, but I'm more than happy to be surprised. So let's see what we can put in the car. So we can put the i14 motorbike engine or the 1.6 litre i4 turbo. Now obviously the i4 turbo gives it a lot more power, even when just comparing the engines in their stock form. Yeah, so I'm gonna go for that. It's probably gonna not work very well in terms of you know, keeping the car under control, but it should be fun at least to see what it can and can't do. So yeah, upgrade that. Turbocharger as well, as you can see, gives pretty much all of the extra power that it's gonna get, and then finally up to 668 horsepower. It's an engine that we've fully upgraded before in previous cars, be they on extreme on this series or extreme off-road silly builds, but it's proved to be a worthwhile engine at times. What top speed are we getting? 121. Yeah, I'm gonna slightly upgrade the gearbox just to give us a better top speed. Now I don't expect it to be able to do 180 mile an hour, but it should be able to do at least do more than 121, which is what it was at. So it's only fair to give it that little bit of extra speed down the straight parts. So yeah, that's a hell of a lot of power to be putting in a car that only had, you know, around 55 originally, or whatever it was. So yeah, 668 horsepower, 682 pounds-feet of torque, and it only weighs 1,662 pounds. And all that power is going for the rear wheels from an engine that is also in the rear. So I expect there to be quite a lot of oversteer, considering, you know, the engine is going to be a hell of a lot more in terms of weight at the back now, and yeah, obviously it was quite an oversteery car even originally with its much smaller engine. So yeah, nonetheless, let's get out there and see what it can do. So even though I do like this car quite a lot in its stock form, I'm really not expecting it to be all that quick, like I said. So yeah, quite frankly, I'll be surprised if it does beat the Austin-Healey, and if it can beat anything higher than that Austin-Healey, then yeah, I'll be amazed. So yeah, let's get out there and see what it can do. So yeah, as expected, the traction control is going haywire, the rev limit is being smashed, and yeah, there's that oversteer that I predicted. Yeah, the engine is not only more than twice the size that it had originally, but it's also obviously got that turbocharger. Now that is going to add some additional weight as well. So yeah, it's also obviously dealing with more than 600 horsepower than it had originally, and more than 600 pounds-feet of torque extra as well. So yeah, quite frankly, I'm surprised it's not going a bit haywire already, to be honest. So for now, it's okay, but yeah, that could easily go all wrong at any minute, quite frankly. It's really struggling to put the power down, or go in any vague, sensible direction. Really doesn't like the hill parts, which is a shame considering how much the hills parts there are. This is a very varied gradient course. For the most part, we are keeping it somewhat in control. but yeah, it's really on the edge of, you know, control and chaos, quite frankly. But if we don't go off a cliff, then we'll be doing one better than the Honda, at least, from the previous episode. Which was a bit of a disappointment, to be honest. Frankly, I have no expectations for this, so any successes it has is going to be a win, quite frankly. This is actually our first rear-mounted engine vehicle on this series as well, so it's going to set a benchmark in that regard, but I doubt if any other rear-engine car that we get on this series will have any trouble in beating it. But we have beaten the Austin-Healey, surprisingly, and by quite a margin as well, around 8 seconds, so yeah, I am surprised by that, but yeah, I doubt we're going to be able to make up 12 seconds on the Escort, even with this flying lap. Just cannot put the power down. And while the Escort also struggled in terms of putting the power down and oversteer as well, it was at least, you know, a more modern vehicle than this. And therefore had better brakes, better tyres, better suspension. It was just, yeah, a little bit more controllable than this. And also because it's a car that had a fairly decent amount of power in its stock form, it wasn't completely dealing with a lot more power than it had originally. Obviously it was far more power than it was ever made for, but it still had, you know, around 240 horsepower or whatever standard, so it was still a solid performance vehicle in its own stock, right? Oh dear. Oh dear. Yeah, that's a problem when you bounce off a rock or something. I don't know what we hit actually. You end up being taken to the other side of the course, which is not useful whatsoever. Kind of bodywork upgrades you can do on this car are pretty good as well. You can put rally lights on it, or a police siren, or a police light, should I say. It's not really a siren. You can also widen the car as well, which I think is pretty funny considering, you know, what kind of car it is. It's hardly a performance vehicle, but it does look pretty decent with a widened body kit. Don't think we're going to be able to top our first lap time, purely because of what happened with the cliffside, which is a shame because we might well have gone faster. But that's part of what makes the series interesting, really. A single mistake can cost you. But there we go. I'm quite frankly surprised I didn't manage to beat any vehicle that was on this series previously. So yeah, even though it's not the quickest time by any means, and it is only second from the bottom, it is still nonetheless quicker than the Austin-Healey Sprite by nearly 8 seconds. But it is still around 12 seconds slower than the Escort, and yeah, around 32 seconds slower than the Chevrolet Colorado ZR2. Just to put it in perspective of what the bottom of the leaderboard is in comparison to the top. So yeah, quite a large margin between us, the Austin-Healey, and Chevrolet Colorado, but quite frankly, like I said, I'm surprised that it was able to beat any vehicle on this series, considering it's quite a unusual layout for vehicles, especially from you know, this series, or on from the period that this car was out, or in terms of the car class that it is, because yeah, very little in the way of horsepower in stock form, and yeah, that rear engine layout does make it a little bit of an oddity, but you know, it still managed to beat the Sprite, which, you know, considering this is slightly newer, maybe that's one reason why it was quicker, because it is newer by 8 years, but you know, the Mercedes-Benz 280 SL is only a year newer than this, so, and yeah, the time difference between us and that Merc is quite large as well, but then again, that is a more ordinary car, whereas this really isn't. But you know, it could have been a lot worse, and yeah, quite frankly, I'm surprised how controllable it actually was. Nonetheless, thanks for watching, and I'll see you with the next one. Bye.